Hello. Hey, listen, I had another question from someone that wanted to know why they weren't losing weight in the lower half of their body, and they're on keto and they're doing intermittent fasting and it's working, but the lower part of the body, the legs, the thighs, the butt, not much happening. Okay, let's just talk about that. Well, when you're doing keto and intermittent fasting, you're basically targeting insulin. You're lowering insulin. You're fixing insulin resistance, which primarily has to do with all the fat in the belly. So you should be seeing some weight in your midsection. And if you're not, just continue to do it and it's going to happen. But there's going to be a point where you plateau with your weight because the density of the muscle to fat ratio is going to change. In other words, you're going to get more muscle and you're going to get less fat. So you just want to continue to do that over time. And muscle weighs more, so the scale's going to stop, but you'll start to shrink. But typically what's going to happen, you're going to lose from the top going down. But keto and intermittent fasting is only going to take you so far. You're going to have to add exercise into this formula. Why? Because an average person in the 40s, 50s, and 60s is dealing with a high fat to low muscle ratio. The composition of muscle is very, very fatty, okay? So to be able to handle that, you're going to have to do some type of exercise program that really targets the muscles in the lower extremities, the glutes, the thighs, the hamstrings, and not just jogging in the treadmill, but actually doing all sorts of things, plyometrics, hopping, slam ball with squatting, leg exercises, all those things. So basically you're on a muscle building plan over time. So then the question comes, how long does it take to see results? Well, it could take a while because it's very gradual. And if you're looking at yourself every day, you might not see a lot of change. So that's why I highly recommend you measure yourself. Measure your hips, measure your thighs, and start really looking at the inches, because if you look at your body, it's so gradual, you might get discouraged. But overall, your estimation needs to be a lot longer than what you think. In other words, it could take 2 or even 3 years to get to your goal. It's not going to happen in months, especially if you haven't exercised for many years. Okay, so I'm just pointing it out because if you don't know that going into this, you might get frustrated and stop and go back to the carbs. But what you really want to do is just stay with it and realize that what you're dealing with is a much greater problem of atrophied muscles than maybe you thought. All right, hang in there, keep doing it, it's going to happen. Hey guys, I wanted to personally invite you to a new Facebook group that I just started called Dr. Berg's Keto and Intermittent Fasting Lab, okay? So I created this so we can share our successful actions, what worked, what didn't work, your results. So I put a link down below. So go ahead and sign up and I'll see you inside.